I have just started this. I'm just talking about um community and slight communism. So this is the first video of all of this. Common sense instead of common sense, commune. Anyway, um I want to bring up about the meds. I'm doing it very shortly if I can. Ultimately, um I understand that medicines are very important and it depends on what you're talking about. You have there's always issues. People have health issues always. Everyone will be need a certain thing in order to feel healthy. I do question it for the industry that we have right now. Even to consider that we have a healthcare that has such a thing as profit means that by its purpose means that it requires profit no matter what. So your health is nothing, it's not for you being healthy, it's for you paying money for medicine. Um I want to have the option where people have healthcare will be entirely universal. That means everything that has to do with your body. All of your medicines, dental is your fucking body, vision, it's your body, and whatever else you've got, everything has to do with you and your health. Um, like the profit has to do with diabetes. They don't want you to get rid of your diabetes because just like they do with cancer, if you get rid of it, if it's completely treated, as in literally cured, not just a treat, but a cure, then they will not make money from it. So you will be able to look around, and some people do say, well, actually we can solve this. If there's a cure for cancer, there's cures for diabetes, there's cure for whatever you're thinking of. Things that are physical ailments are things that the industry will not use because then you will not be paying anymore. Now will you? So because it's not for the people, it's for the profit, now you should question everything that you ever have had. And doctors don't even listen to the full whatever's going on with your patients. Doctors don't get paid enough comparatively for what they're dealing with. It doesn't provide such a thing as I would say that every doctor and even every fucking nurse should have versions of therapy in some form so that they can process all of that type of stuff. It's like they're definitely getting worse behavior and issues from other people than a cop would do. I'll never fucking say anything other than that. EMTs need way more like actual therapy and treatment like PTSD. Anyway, what we have is mostly for the profit. And we don't have, because it's not universal, everything should be questioned because you want to know, you should consider, why do you have a med at all? What is the purpose of your med, um and is there a way to be cured for it? There's it gets blurred because if you believe that it's something that will help you and it's the only thing that is going to let you live, then I want to question of why that's the case, especially for mental meds. If you don't like this, don't listen to it. I don't want to solve your anything, and if it makes you live, then go ahead. But I do want you to question why anything applies to all of our people, because the entire industry is for your money. Even with insurance, you still get stolen for a lot of fucking money. Like, they still make you pay stuff for an insurance. Our tax monies should just be cover the whole ass thing because everyone would be able to afford it. but people own companies. They need the profit because they're people who are addicted to money. You don't matter. Like every time a person is addicted, they do not have the ability to give a shit about other human beings. Like if you know about addicts, they do steal, cheat, and they do horrible things to people because they're still stuck in a loop of addictions. That applies to our overlords. I want to question what type of med you need. Every of our meds are synthesized from nature, as far as we know. Most of it is synthesized, and even chemistry is from the earth, right? Why do you need, like, I want to know the dosage is extremely matter for all of this type of stuff, but the idea to have a dosage at all means that um, uh, they do other forms of. Okay, fuck. I don't know enough about anything, so I'm only a person who's not an expert. I just recognize patterns. Um, you are getting into the middleman instead of getting the actual source. Um, and I wonder why we do all of these for so many meds instead of adding to our diet. Um, if you want a certain way, the way things are, like even like there's such a thing as good cholesterol, there's such a thing as good carbs, there's such a thing as a good sugar, there's a good of everything. Moderation and all of that, and the things that we can get can just from nature because everything that we have from meds is made and synthesized regardless. Why do we want to synthesize for instead of adding to our diet would be, well, shelf lives. Why do we give a shit about, first of all, it has to be created a preservative, which it's not the same way that you're expecting for fast food. Preservatives for shelf life, you're talking about like potency, um, you're talking about the grinding and drying and all of that. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I just wonder why we even give a shit about having to have it on a shelf life when we can just have a garden, or if you had grocery that has the same medicines that you would do fresh. Not every medicine, not every ingredient is supposed to be fresh. But even then, when you consider about even drying things while it does have a longer shelf life, you can still have closer to when it is, so it's even fresher than you would have considered for grinding, whatever. Um, and then I would wonder, what are you talking about? What is bothering? Is it your body or is it your mind? And at which point you would say, what is really causing the actual issues that you have entirely? What we have with our bodies doesn't just house the soul, it's like within the soul. It's not that we're not just piloting something. Um, whatever is affecting your soul spreads to your body. And so my issues with my body, physical body, I can feel the more I relieve myself of and release the stress of myself, then my body hurts less. And then this is take whatever the fuck you want. Then I also have had meds, mental meds, for many years that I would still have the same amount of body issues. Literal pains would not be appease any of that, and actually it didn't help my mental illnesses really too much. I want to say that I've I probably do still have bipolar 2. Um I'm not diagnosed for autism. I'm not diagnosed for ADHD because I'm a femme, and I don't have enough money because I'm not going to be able to afford trying doctors to give me a diagnosis until I get to the right one. That would take me hundreds of dollars. And I've already tried an evaluation, bitch. They only know about kids. So how the fuck are you gonna find an adult assessor? So um probably bipolar 2 is probably accurate because I did try Prozac when I was in high school for the 1 year I was there. Prozac did make me even more suicidal. So I did, and I did have insomnia. I still can have insomnia, but it's complicated. The insomnia that I have is based on the autism and ADHD, where if something happened and it got upsetted me, as in like too much stimulation, too little, to whatever, then I'm not grounded in my body as much. Everything is in more of a adrenaline levels, and I just can't fucking sleep only then. But the Prozac would be just if I tried Prozac, got suicidal, that's a response for a version of bipolar. So that's probably applicable. But I did take meds for. I tried meds for OCD. I was also diagnosed for OCD. I tried OCD, what I would try a med for about 1 to 2 months, which had no responses, as in my behaviors were the same level, that it did not help at all. Bipolar 2, it wouldn't really help me enough to, like, I would just have to be up the dosage for a very long time. Like, I would always just be like, oh, you keep on doing that. So, and I get it. You would have to, that's the thing about mental meds is you have to find the right one instead of, and even then it's like, does your psychiatrist actually know what you have? Because especially if you're a femme, they'll misdiagnose you for really easily. And I'm not a diagnosed for the actual things that I fucking have, because I wouldn't be fired for just being bipolar. I get fired because I'm autistic. People hate autists. Because ultimately we have a sense of justice, so we give a shit about people, and the communication is slightly different. Um, and if you're smart, which most people are, if you're autistic and ADHD, you're pretty fucking smart. They hate it. That's why you never had a manager who was really smart. If your manager was smart, it means they're probably already themselves autism or ADHD ultimately. Um, so I've had meds that didn't really address the true core of what I'm talking about. Um, I'm getting meds for like my depression and my issues with the fucking world. You're trying to get a med for like making you feel better, but you're not going to fix why you are sad in the first place. The depressions that I would have is because the entire society wouldn't support me as just being autistic, or not supporting me in general of being a queer, that the entire society would not make it safe for me. So it makes sense that, yeah, I'm fucking sad for a long time because everything is demanding and they don't give a shit for you in the first place. So especially if it's if you are clinically depressed, then guess what, it's going to make things hard for you, but you still want to know about your environment will make it worse that you have a clinical depression regardless. So if you take meds, it's going to just do your best for your body, but it won't fix the things around you. you'll still be depressed because the society's in shambles. So, I mean, I don't want you to fucking now. I'm not saying stop things immediately. I had to taper off to get off my 150 milligrams Lamictal. I took that like I couldn't afford that shit. Also, I couldn't afford keep having all of this. It was like $50 for getting a psychiatrist online to just give me a script. And then you pay like 20 to 40 for your fucking script. Even when I had do I have insurance? No, I didn't have insurance then. I don't have insurance right now. But yeah, everything was fucking expensive, and I was already tapering off because I couldn't afford it in the first place. If you don't know what tapering is, then you should keep it for a second and talk to, if you still have your doctor, you could talk about what your options are for that. But I don't even want to address it if you don't even know what you're dealing with. Um, so I'd rather most of you would keep your med, but get to the fucking core. So if you're not like, keep it where it is, keep your meds until you know why you're depressed. Is it environmental? Um, is it your core? What's wrong with your soul? And if you address all of those things, then you're like, okay, if I can affect my environment, if I can affect my diet, my body, and the core of if you have trauma and PTSD and issues as a human being in your experience as a human, and you're still depressed, then I would be like, okay, well, now we want to figure out if you've addressed all of those where it's been processed. Okay, now it's clinical, and then you want to consider doing all of that stuff. But I don't even know if the whole industry is going to maintain the same way that we are expecting in the first place. Because if we're going to have entirely, our society is going to change or become eradicated to be replaced, which means we don't even know how we're going to handle the healthcare yet for a while. Everything has to settle before it flourishes. So even if you're going to keep your meds for mental, then you want to probably maintain a healthy diet to, because I don't even know that I don't shelf lives are pretty good for meds to keep safe for as long as possible, but I don't know that it's not going to be um what do you say, looted by the time we have an issue with the government. Um you probably want to consider, why do you have this med? What's its base, as in what ingredient is involved in this? Where is it where is it um where is it raised regionally in the world? And how do you keep it in your diet in case anything goes awry? That ultimately you still want to know what things are happening. um I want you to be able to consider for the way things are. The American empire and capitalism has made sure that you're supposed to be stupid and you're not supposed to be knowing about anything at all. Now is the time to learn all of these types of things. You want to learn a lot before everything goes shambled and all the way crumbles to the floor. You want to know what you're dealing with while it happens. There's a lot, especially if you're white, your culture does not have wisdom. It has, for the white culture, we accept for a lot of capitalism, which means all of the wisdom from generations have been ignored. So even if there was such a thing as white wisdom, all of that is gone too. So specifically white people should be looking and learning a lot of things. Indigenous, like the natives, Native Americans will have much more wisdom than you'd ever get, even if you knew about your ancestors. And Black Americans, all of their ancestors not only had to survive so much, but they would have to find ways to make it not just survive from trauma and all of that. They had to survive in such a way of their food, their medicine, and their all of that type of, and their helping their bodies, taking care of their bodies. That wouldn't come from white people. So from just with all of our white lack of wisdom, it is our time to learn from all of these ancestries that we're not involved in, except for slavery and all of that, because the slave owners would definitely breed that shit up, but ultimately the white wisdom doesn't fucking exist. um I do not have wisdom. I have pattern recognition. I do not have anything to know except for things that I'm doing now. So Eastern medicine and native medicine, I don't even know what you would say that for. I don't know enough about Black Americans to even know what they would say for that type of medicines, but there's type of medicines for there that you would be able to learn from those too. Everyone is entitled to learn, to learning things, they're entitled to knowledge. They just have to look around for all of this, and it would mean you want to learn about this and that. Because we have so much internet, I don't know how I feel about the AI with all of that. There's plenty of books that you can already learn from all of these things for um, holistic medicine or a natural medicine. You can find options for it rather than AI, because I can't guarantee that AI is going to give you healthy shit. There's so much wisdom from so many human beings that it's a shame to ignore all of their millennia of that until now. And you're just going for convenience means you're still supporting capitalism, which is not going to last long. And if you don't know how to build the skills, which means learning things, spending time to learn things, that is a skill that you want to build right now. So I would say there's such a thing as AI for ableism, for disabilities, like audio, for blindness, sure. But ultimately, the if it's for convenience, then it's not giving you a skill. You cannot keep a skill based on convenience, because capitalism has made sure that if you are comfortable with convenience, then you will ignore any other skill that you could have, especially for now you don't know how to garden, now you don't know how to cook, even now you don't know how to clean efficiently or cheap, and you don't know all of this type of stuff because capitalism wants you to be, oh, I need to afford to live, which means I need to spend more time in work. And that doesn't even give you enough skills either. It's just bullshit. So don't use AI. It's not guaranteed for having good shit. There's a lot of wisdom from a lot of specifically natives, Eastern medicine, like Asian cultures, and the Black American cultures with all of the medicines and knowledge that they have. I don't have those knowledges. All I'm doing is building my skills as is right now with gardening, knowing what I'm doing. um, and making mistakes. Please accept mistakes. You do not have to get rid of your med. It just means understanding why you need it, how to grow the type of things you have, or find other sources for the true ingredients that you might need. Because the the world is changing, and it is now your time right now, because it's pretty soon, that everything is going to be very drastic things. You were propagandized, indoctrinated into being a sheep, and that is okay. We were, the people that came before us accepted a certain type of livelihood that it was passed down to you. Time is changing. It is now for us to learn more shit and find other ways to expand our existence as a human being. And especially your skill of learning things. I don't know how to deal with Gen A alpha shit. I don't even know how to deal with Gen Z. All of our knowledge is stripped from us because of capitalism. It has been doing that since America existed. America existed instead of the actual continent. Like, actually, the British getting over here. Everything has been boom, boom, boom. So, yeah, things are definitely going to change. That's just based on medicine at all. Not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. Yeah, so I don't think it needs to be a scary thing. The more you know, straight up the better. If you have more knowledge, more skills, more control in your little world, not really control, but uh, malleability, adaptability, go with the flow, then you're less likely to have an issue. So keep that in mind for all of this type of stuff. Address for who you are as a human being. Money doesn't even matter. So it is a great time to build the skills for all of this. Groceries expensive, and we're going to talk about that in a second. So I'm just saying,